What's up guys, my name's James, and in today's video, I'm gonna talk to you about how to get a ton of bookings on a new Airbnb listing fast and set that listing up for long-term success in the future. Now, before we dive into it, I'd just like to let you know about a few things. There are links in the description down below to some amazing free trainings that will walk you through all kinds of different things. So whether you're hosting your own property or want to host for others, there's 2 free trainings I've linked down below. Each one of them is over an hour and a half long and pure, really just gonna hammer you with a ton of value. I'm gonna show you how to manage your own property exceptionally well on Airbnb, or how to build an incredible 6-figure a year business managing other people's properties on Airbnb without investing $1 into buying, renting, or furnishing any properties at all. So both those trainings are gonna be really valuable. I highly recommend checking them out. Also, if you are new to the channel here, or you are an avid viewer of the channel but have not yet subscribed, then just go ahead and click that big red subscribe button down below the video so you can subscribe to the channel and stay up to date as we post new content. I post 2 new videos every single week, and I like to take recommendations from you guys on what you most want to see to help you build your Airbnb management business. So if you want to stay up to date with that, just click that subscribe button, give the channel a subscription, and let me know in the comments down below as well. If you have any other questions, any other concerns, any other thoughts, anything that you want me to address in an upcoming video, just let me know in the comments down below. And last but not least, the almighty like button. Just click that little wee thumbs up button. I know I've asked you to do a lot right now. Check out the links, subscribe, all that. Take a second, hit that like button. It really does help me out tremendously with YouTube's algorithm to help grow this channel and help more people to grow incredibly successful Airbnb management businesses. So I would really, really appreciate if you would take a quick second to just hit that like button. So with all that being said, all that behind us, let's dive right into it and let's talk about how to get a flood of incredible bookings fast when you launch a new listing. This is going to be especially important to anyone launching a new listing, but most of all, anyone looking to manage properties or who's already managing properties on Airbnb, because when you're managing other people's listings on Airbnb, you're going to be launching a number of listings, right? Every time you bring on a new listing, if it's not already got a successful track record on Airbnb, you're going to be launching it, and you want 2 things. You want to make sure, number 1, that you get a bunch of bookings fast. You want to make sure that it gets off to a really good, strong start. And number 2 is that you want to make sure that you set that listing up for long-term success on the platform. And so in order to do that, you need to do a couple things right. First of all, make sure that you launch your listing with it perfectly set up. So you need to have the right systems to make sure that the photography is on point, the headline is great, and the listing description is really nailed. All those pieces need to be perfect before you launch your listing. Now again, the link in the description below to our free training is going to show you exactly how to do that. It's going to walk you through the step-by-steps, but you need to make sure those pieces are in place right from the get-go. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people making is that they want to launch their listing before it's ready. They want to go and take their iPhone pictures and put them up for the time being until they get the photographer in to go and do some proper photography so they can get a couple extra days of their listing being live. That is a terrible, terrible mistake, and I'll tell you why. The reason you want your listing to be at its optimal peak level before you launch is because there's an initial testing period on Airbnb when you launch a new listing. Naturally, with Airbnb being such a large platform with so many properties on it would become very challenging for new hosts to get started on the platform if it was just left as an even playing field. Because obviously when you start out, you don't have a proven track record, you don't have a whole bunch of people that you're referring to, you don't have any guest reviews on your listing, you might not have your pricing dialed in, there's a bunch of things working against you in the eyes of a guest. And so if Airbnb were to just leave it like that, then it would be incredibly hard for their platform to grow because it'd be hard for new hosts to come onto the platform. So to counteract this and make it easier for new hosts to join the platform and have success, Airbnb has built into their algorithm something that basically gives your listing a boost when you first launch it, meaning that it's going to get more visibility when it first gets viewed. Now, what happens at this stage is incredibly vital to your listing's short-term and long-term performance on Airbnb. Ultimately, Airbnb's algorithm is built around making the company money. They want to get properties booked. And so if your property gets a big boost of initial people viewing it, but not enough people view it, then Airbnb is going to lower it in the search results long term. Meaning that if you launch that listing with your subpar iPhone photos of the listing, you're going to get, let's say, 100 views and no bookings. Then Airbnb's algorithm realizes, oh, people don't really like this listing. We're going to stop showing it to people long term. That means you're going to miss out on a tremendous amount of bookings long term of your listing, and you're going to have a really hard hill to climb back up to get your listing to come back up towards the top of the search results. So that's number one, is just make sure that your listing is absolutely ready for launch, that everything is as optimal as it possibly can be before you set your listing live. Number two thing you need to do is set your pricing a little bit lower than you would normally set it. Now, I know this seems a little bit crazy. I know a lot of you are going to want to really optimize your bookings, and you're probably thinking, well, what value is it to get a bunch of bookings if I just lower my prices? Now, I'm not talking about drastically lowering them. I'm not talking about cutting them in half or cutting them down to 25% or anything like that. What I am saying is knock 10% or 20% off of your price for the first few weeks of your listing being live. The reason I recommend doing this is simple. It's gonna help you out to make a lot more money long term. The reason why is just what we talked about a couple minutes ago there. Airbnb is gonna give you some initial views. If you get those 100 initial views and your prices are set too high, or your prices are set at normal rates, but guests see that, oh, they don't have any reviews, maybe I'll go with this other listing, and you get 0 or you get 1 or maybe, whatever, just a few bookings from those 100 views. I'm just using these numbers arbitrarily, by the way. If you get, let's say, 0 or 1 bookings out of those 100 views, then Airbnb's algorithm says, okay, again, not a lot of people actually like this listing enough to book it, so let's not show it in the search results as high up. Let's put it onto page 2 or page 3. On the other hand, if you launch your listing and you've set your price a little bit low and you go and you get 100 views and out of those 5 people book it, Airbnb is going to go, wow, people love this listing. They really want to book it. And then that means that they're going to raise it up to the top of the search results. Again, the thing to remember is that Airbnb wants to highlight properties that get booked, because when properties get booked, that's when Airbnb makes their money. So the algorithm naturally is built towards optimizing for that. If your property demonstrates to Airbnb's algorithm that it does get booked a high percentage of the time when it gets given traffic, then naturally as a result, Airbnb's algorithm is going to give your listing more traffic. Simply put, it means that if your listing performs really well during that initial test phase, meaning it gets a lot of bookings, then you're gonna show up higher in the search results long term. You can absolutely go and increase your prices after that initial period of a couple of weeks. I'd recommend 2 to 4 weeks of having your prices slightly lower and then raise them back up. Because at this point, you're gonna be getting a bunch of traffic and you'll already have some of those initial reviews from those first guests that stayed there. So you'll have some traction, you'll have a big number of, high volume of guests checking out your space because it shows up high in the search results, and you'll have a couple of initial reviews. So then you can raise your prices back up to normal and potentially even command a premium for your listing now that it's off to such a strong start. The other thing that I'd recommend doing, the third thing, is to make sure that you ask those guests for reviews. Make sure, and all your guests really, you should be asking for reviews, but especially on those first really important ones, you want to, number one, make sure that you deserve a 5-star review, that you really go above and beyond. And number two, make sure that you ask for reviews so you actually get those reviews, so that when you want to go and raise your pricing, you have the ability to do so because you've got some positive reviews on your listing. So if you do all that properly, it's gonna lead to a couple of things. Number one, you're gonna get a flood of bookings initially because, again, let's remember that Airbnb is gonna give you traffic, and if you have your listing optimized, you have everything set up perfectly, and you have your pricing slightly below the market rate, then you're gonna get a ton of initial bookings. Now, that's great, but those initial bookings are gonna be at lower rates, so it's not gonna be anything crazy. But the real benefit of this is that now long-term, your listing is gonna show up high in the search results. Airbnb is going to favor that listing, and you're going to be able to raise your prices and get consistent, incredible rates and incredible bookings from that listing. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has been really valuable to you. If it has, then I highly recommend checking out the link in the description below to the free training that we've got that'll walk you through this and everything else you need to know to start a really successful and profitable Airbnb management business of your own. Again, that training is completely free. Just click the link, input your email, select the time, register for the training, and you will be off to the races. So I highly recommend doing that. And also, if you want to stay up to date with all the new content we publish on this channel, twice every single week we release a new video, I'd highly recommend clicking that big red subscribe button there. Just click that big red subscribe button. You'll be able to check in with us and keep up to date with all the new tips and skills that you can learn for growing your BNB management business. And last but not least, give this video a like. There you go. Take your time, give it a like, hit the like button, and leave me some comments below if you have ideas for upcoming videos, any questions you want answered, or anything that you want my thoughts on, or just pop in and say hi. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.